Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the very first episode of Tank Talks Movies Podcast Edition. And today we will be talking about Mortal Kombat. Dun 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 dun. All right. It's not the 2021 version, though. I apologize, but it is the 19 uh Uh, let's just say it's the old one. I don't remember when the first Mortal Kombat movie came out. So, let's start the plot. The plot starts out with a Shaolin monk taking on the big bad of the series, Shang Tsung. So they're sparring on like some ruins of some sort, and Shang Tsung wins and, you know, takes his soul. And then, after Shang Tsung takes this guy's soul, Liu Kang wakes up from a dream. Liu Kang apparently dreamt this, but it's real, guys. It's real. So, after that, we get sent to Hollywood to meet Johnny Cage, where he's, starring in a movie, and he's battling grunts, and one just won't fall down, and he just simply asks him, "This is where you fall down." Then we get Sonya trying to find Kano in this club. That's pretty much it. She shoots a guy, and Kano gets away. But Kano is talking with Shang Tsung, pretty much saying to Kano, if you lay a hand on Sonya and she doesn't get on this boat, you'll be a dead man. Pretty much. Then we find ourselves at the Shaolin Temple. Liu Kang decides to show up there to ask the Shaolin monks why is his brother dead. Yes, that was his brother who passed away. Then he encounters Lord Raiden, and those two try to spar, and Liu Kang royally gets his ass kicked. Literally by one little judo throw. Then Liu Kang pretty much tells all the Shaolin he's going to revenge his brothers by killing the man who killed his brother. So he runs off, and the monks are all shocked that he's going to do this. So then we find ourselves at a dock where the ship is coming to pick up all the fighters for this tournament of martial arts called Mortal Kombat. So we see Johnny Cage show up in a limousine with a bunch of luggage. So Liu Kang walks by, and Johnny asks him, okay, when the boat gets here, could you carry these onto the boat for me? Liu Kang's like, you want me to carry your luggage? And Johnny's like, yeah, I pay you to load the boat. So Liu Kang takes the money, and he grabs the luggage and throws it into the water. Then Johnny Cage says, at least I didn't tell him to park the car. So they get onto the boat. Sonya is chasing Kano, and Kano gets on the boat, then Sonya gets on the boat. So now they're all on the boat. And Sonya is, like I said, chasing Kano on the boat. And then Liu Kang and Johnny Cage are like, hey, we probably can't go in there, we can't. And Sonya just on it is mission mode, you guys. She just wants to get Kano and kill him, arrest him. Most likely kill him because Kano killed Sonya's partner. But then they encounter Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero ends up freezing Sonya's pistol, and Scorpion ends up, pulling out, well, it's a spear, but it looked like a lizard mouth that came out of his hand. Then out of nowhere, Raiden shows up and electrocutes Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Then Shang Tsung comes along and shows up, then you're trying to eliminate my team now, says Raiden to Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung goes, I cannot control Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Usually bitter enemies, but under my ruling, they are very, very good together. Then we have, they split up and they get to the island, and Johnny Cage has all this luggage. Liu Kang only threw one suitcase into the water on the dock. So Johnny's walking off the thing, trying to get in, and just face plants into the water. Funny scene. So they get to the lunchroom area of this temple, and they just literally have to watch and eat food as Sub-Zero literally destroys a grunt. I would have to say a grunt. Just a random ninja there that's not even part of the deal. The guy who's going to be sparring with Sub-Zero is pumping up, shadow boxing, kicking in the air and getting ready, and all of a sudden Sub-Zero is just moving his hands around. Some blue icy substance is forming into his hands, and the guy tries to do a flying kick towards him, and he gets frozen and runs into a wall and shattered. Then Shang Tsung says, flawless victory. Then they Sonya and again sees Kano, and she has to chase him. So Liu Kang and Johnny Cage are following her, and then they see Goro. They see Goro, and you're like, oh my lord. Then they see Princess Katana. And, they follow her for a little bit. And honestly, Johnny Cage just says a very corny line by saying, I can find her. I can smell her perfume. And Liu Kang's like, I don't smell anything. So, pretty much then after that, the tournament pretty much begins. And then we get another fight between Liu Kang and some other fella, doesn't have a name, just a generic fighter that's on the island. A decent back and forth fight this is, but Liu Kang gets the victory. Then we get Sonya actually versus Kano in the first round of this tournament here. Then it's kind of a mismatch due to Kano being, I hate to say it, a male, but Sonya just does some, good old fighting style, a couple low blows here and there, and gets the upper hand, gets him in a Hurricane Run-Up type looking hold, and she just snaps his neck. And then we get Johnny Cage just randomly walking through a forest. And then we just see this thing just flying through the air, and all of a sudden just starts biting towards his face. And then we have Johnny Cage versus Scorpion. Just back and forth, good back and forth, you know. All of a sudden they find themselves in another realm. By the way, I just have a quick question about this fight. Johnny wins this by, I'm guessing, it's definitely a fatality. Scorpion is dead at the end, but he stops Scorpion's fatality. Like, Scorpion took his mask off, you know, to get the skull in the fire. Then Johnny just finds a shield and blocks the flame, gets closer, cuts his head off with the shield, and just random stuff. But first off, they're in the nether realm, or hell. How the hell did Johnny Cage get out of hell? Can you guys just tell me that? I am just curious. Then we get another fight with Liu Kang and Princess Katana, and it's a good back and forth between those two. And during the fight, Katana is telling Liu Kang to get ready for the next fight. Grab some, use water, use the water. That's what she keeps telling him. Then Liu Kang finds himself up against Sub-Zero inside this temple type area. So those two start sparring, and then Sub-Zero is about to freeze Liu Kang, and he chucks a bucket of water at him, and the water comes flying towards Sub-Zero, with Sub-Zero freezing it, and then, you know, impalement. Then Sub-Zero is dead. Then Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya, and Raiden are just walking around. Shang Tsung ends up going into the quarters of Goro and said, I believe they've had their fun. Let you have your fun. So, it's just a little montage scene of Goro just punching and kicking people, pretty much being dominant. And then Goro ends up facing off against one of Earthrealm's generic people. And the guy's doing his best, but it's not affecting Goro. And Goro ends up just brutalizing this poor guy. Pretty much breaking some bones, etc., etc. And then, you know, Shang Tsung just takes his soul. And Johnny Cage has become good friends with this guy. But he asks to face Goro. Johnny Cage asks to face Goro. And Shang Tsung goes, are you that eager to die? Johnny's reply is, I'm not the one who's gonna die. Alright. Tonight, you versus Goro. So the match is starting, and then Johnny takes his sunglasses off. Goro grabs his hand, grabs the sunglasses, and just crushes him. And Goro's just pretty much mocking him, and then Johnny Cage does the famous split punch, where he does the splits and punches him in the nutsack. Then Goro is wounded, but, well, of course, if you're a guy, you're going to get hit in the ding. It's going to be, oh. So Johnny flees. Then Shang Tsung tells him, follow him, follow him. And then he follows Johnny to a cliff area, and Johnny just starts to dominate. You know, punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick. you know. And then all of a sudden, he knocks him slightly off the cliff, but Goro's hanging on by one hand. And Johnny goes, "Those are $300 sunglasses, asshole." And Goro falls to his death. So we think, I guess. And then we get sent to Outworld because Shang Tsung has stolen Sonya Blade. So we're in Outworld now, and they're just walking through Outworld because of reasons. Because that's where Shang Tsung is. And all of a sudden we see Liu Kang randomly start walking towards this little crack in the way, or in this building. A crack in this building. And he all of a sudden reaches in, grabs this lizard type creature that's flailing away, trying to, by the way, terrible CGI lizard creature. And he just ends up chucking it into this statue type thing. And all of a sudden, these reptiles, by the way, this is Reptile. And he's trying to flail his way out of it. And then all of a sudden, this statue becomes alive, and it just says Reptile. And then all of a sudden, Liu Kang and Reptile are fighting in this thing, and Liu Kang gets the upper hand with the bicycle kick. Then they reach the like area where Shang Tsung is holding Sonya. Sonya is wearing the weirdest garb I've ever seen. I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to explain. So Shang Tsung is there. Liu Kang and Johnny Cage show up. And Liu Kang challenges Shang Tsung to Mortal Kombat. And then they start. But before, Liu Kang can fight Shang Tsung, he has to fight souls of other warriors that have fallen to Shang Tsung, apparently in the past. So Liu Kang's taking these guys on, etc., etc. Different warriors from different ages, I guess you could say. I believe there was a samurai that looked like a sumo wrestler of some sort, and there's just too many weird things to talk about at this scene. So Liu Kang beats them all. And then he runs up to the top of the spot where Shang Tsung is. They start fighting. They're going back and forth, back and forth. Liu Kang ends up getting the upper hand, blocking everything that Shang Tsung can do. So Shang Tsung, he grabs a hold of Shang Tsung, and all of a sudden a soul just starts leaving Shang Tsung's body. Liu Kang says, "You're getting weak. You can't even control them anymore." So he just, starts to go back and forth, back and forth. And then it's he uses his fireball attack to knock him off the top of the ledge that they are on, so he falls and lands on the spike pit. So Shang Tsung is dead, and by being impaled. And then all these souls just start coming out of Shang Tsung's body, and just starts to die. He literally decays, right there. Just his skin all the souls leave his skin. He turns into a corpse. He turns into a goddamn corpse. That's pretty much it. And then They end up at the Shaolin Temple. Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Sonya, Princess Katana, and Raiden end up back at the Shaolin Temples, and all of a sudden there's lightning and thundering, and all of a sudden a holographic thing destroys the top of a temple, and it's Shao Kahn, and it goes, "You weak, pathetic fools, I come for your souls." And that's how the movie ends. It's total sequel bait, you guys. Do I dare talk about, next time, do I dare talk about Mortal Kombat? Whatever the hell it was called. Because that thing was worse than this movie. So, this movie, my opinion, the first movie is really, really good. It kind of follows a little bit more of, like, the video game. Like, you know, like the first games, tournament style and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it. But I cannot wait to see the newest Mortal Kombat movie. That just looks badass. The trailers look badass because of the violence and gore that's in this movie, or that movie, because apparently it's getting a hard R. So, yeah. This has been Tank Talks Movies, the Tank Talks Movies podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Till next time, you guys. Peace out. Bye.